Hi everyone, I'm Diya Mirza and welcome to a very special podcast which is not about this dazzling film industry, the glitterati, the flash of camera lights and spotlight, but about another kind of light, the light of truth. My guest today is not from the film industry, but from an entirely different world, so to say. He talks not of the external, artificial lights that we see around us in the outside world, but the light within. And he tells me that my name Diya has far more significance than meets the eye. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you, AiR-Atman, in Ravi to this podcast. AiR is a happiness ambassador, a spiritual mentor, a poet, a lyricist, an author of over 75 books, and a philanthropist who runs 3 shelter homes for the destitute in Bangalore. At one time, he was also a part of this glitzy, shimmering world of action and lights, an iconic businessman. He too was climbing the ladder to success and fame. But one day, he stepped down from it all and chose to climb the ladder towards the eternal light instead. From an iconic businessman to a spiritual mentor and a prolific transformational writer, what an incredible journey. And tell us more about your life, your journey. I have so much to ask you.
What a pleasure and honor to meet you. When we meet people from the glamorous world, they're going to Bollywood, sometimes you wonder, your life is so different. But to meet somebody with so much humility, with so much depth, it's with divine love, you can feel it. You can feel that aura. And that aura sometimes doesn't have words. They say in Hindi, anubhuti. So you feel the experience of that vibration. And it's so lovely to be with you here today.
It's my pleasure too. And you're so right, because it's undeniable, the energy that a person emanates, and what the person makes you feel is instant. It doesn't take words or even action sometimes. It's just in that instant moment that you know, nice person.
And sometimes your name itself, Diya, when they said Dia Mirza, I said, wow. Because what this world needs is light. And Diya or Deepa or the light itself, that is you. Sometimes it's so beautiful to spread the light.
Yeah.
But when I was in my journey, I realized there's a more deeper light that needs to be lit within. And so I'll start by giving you this. This is a book I have written. It's called The Realizations of a Yogi.
How wonderful. And what a wonderful cover.
Yes, so this is a little tricky, so you take the book out.
Wow, that's a beautiful case. How wonderful.
So,
I want to actually go back to something you said about my name.
Yes.
So my mother's name is Deepa.
wow.
And when she finally discovered that she had conceived me, my father said to her that we will name our daughter Diya. And when I was a child, I used to dislike my name because, I used to get teased in school. Kya diya? Kaise diya? Right? Nobody really thought about Diya as the light. But my mom would always remind me that Diya is the light within. And your purpose in life, in this world, is to emanate that light.
Wow.
So it really ties in beautifully to what you said. Thank you.
So have you been into the spiritual realm or this awakening? Before we start our talk, tell me something about yourself and your journey of just a macro view of it.
So I experienced a lot of unsettling things very early in my life. My parents separated when I was 5. They both remarried. There was a lot of adjustments I needed to make. I was extremely attached to my father, who I had to live away from because, my mom had moved into a new home with her new life, and I had to get adjusted to all the new people in our lives. And very soon after their divorce, my father passed away when I was only 9. And that was it was very, very hard because I didn't see him for months before he passed on, and I didn't see him after he had passed away. So there was no closure. So for many years, right through my teenage years, there was all kinds of questions that emanated in my mind. What is this life? What happens to us after we die? So that kind of set me on a journey to read and explore. So I read Many Lives, Many Masters. Wow. I read, the teachings of Buddha. I read all kinds of things, Swami Vivekananda. And it was much later, after I participated in the Miss India contest, that I discovered the power of meditation. Because a part of the training program, we had a meditation course. And that was like an aha moment for me personally, because the first thing that I remember that happened during the meditation was that I cried a lot. I shed copious amounts of tears without actually feeling any emotion. It was quite surreal. And after I had cried a lot, I discovered this lightness. I felt like something that I was carrying for a very long time, a lot of pain had just kind of left me. So I said, oh my God, this meditation is a very powerful thing. I should continue doing it. So for some years, my early phase of joining the film industry, I continued to. But then, the schedules and the crazy timelines and the excessive travel, all of that took over. And that dedication or that discipline to meditate every day had left me, had gone. And I remembered like there was remnants of that memory of how it gave me center, it grounded me, it calmed me, it gave me clarity. And some years later, my stepfather passed away when I was 21. And that's when I remembered again that it was time to go back to myself. And I was also feeling a little lost professionally because there was so much emphasis given to the external. How you look, how you dress, what you do, whether your films are working, not working. Oh my God, it was like very terrifying. And I was beginning to feel deep insecurities, which I'd never felt in my life. I'd never felt scared. And suddenly there was a lot of fear. And a lot of my decisions were emanating from a place of fear. Okay. And it didn't feel right. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like me anymore. So I went back to meditation.
After when you were around 20 or much later?
21.
Okay.
And since then, I've been meditating regularly.
Wow. I don't think the world knows this part of your life. I don't think you've not spoken about it much.
Not much. But there is a common thing that people say to me when they meet me or they work with me. They say, you're so calm, you emanate so much calm. And I always say that's possibly because I meditate regularly. So I totally believe in the power of the self. And I think spirituality is the only and the best way forward.
Wow.
So I'm always happy to meet and engage with enlightened minds like yours. And I totally agree with everything that you say.
That's nice. So people... First of all, since you spoke about meditation, the first thing you do when people tell you to meditate, they say, okay, now sit up and put your spine erect. But in reality, while all that is good, they forget that the basic concept of meditation is to still the mind. A mind which you cannot find.
Yes.
Right? There's no mind in reality, but we all say we have a mind. And that rascal is shooting thoughts. And I ask people, AK-47? They say, yeah, that's the terrorist gun. I ask, have you heard of MK-50? And they say, what is MK-50? I say, it's the mind killer 50. Yeah. It's shooting at you 50 thoughts a minute.
Yeah.
And that is 50,000 thoughts a day. Yeah. And they can kill you, right?
Sometimes the thoughts can be on loop. And that's another discovery that I made when I started to meditate, that I realized that those thoughts that are in loop in your mind, you learn to unloop them.
Okay.
Because suddenly the question or the idea that is finding repetition in your mind, it could be an idea that you have about yourself. It could be an idea that you have about somebody else.
Yeah.
it just suspends to, it just stops existing
Correct.
when you spend time with yourself.
Otherwise, it's drilling you and
Yeah,
killing
yeah.
you. The same thought.
Yeah.
Just like the TV, when they show us one attack, they show you that one attack in 20 different angles of the camera.
Yeah.
And you actually start to wonder how many people died.
True.
But in reality, it was just one scene, but they show it in,
Yeah.
so the mind. So
I'm going to remember MK, what?
MK5.
50. Oh, yeah.
Remember it?
50,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah. But remember it from the AK-47. Then you'll always remember.
MK50, I will never forget this. Okay, now less about me and more about you, because this is a conversation that we will have, but I want to know more.
So every time you ask me a question, first of all, don't be surprised if I start answering with a song.
Okay.
So when
We love music. We're always happy to hear a good song.
You talked about MK50. So what do I tell people? I tell people, मन बड़ा है चोर चैन चुराता है डर और चिंता में हमें डुबाता है मन को है मारना दुश्मन बड़ा है वो मन को जो मारे शांति वो पाता. So you have to kill this damn mind. And that's the biggest challenge. Meditation does that. It reduces the MTR, the mental thought rate, from 50 to 40 to 30. It comes till you engage in one thought. And if you can engage in one thought and that rascal is not jumping up and down. So go ahead, you can shoot with your questions and then I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay. AiR, your mission in life is to help people achieve eternal happiness. And I was very curious to know, what do you mean when you say eternal happiness?
So Diya, we're all happy once in a way, right?
Yeah.
We're all happy, but in our life, there is pleasure and there's pain. Just like there is sun and there's rain, there's loss and there's gain. And this happens again and again.
And that was a poem. Right there.
So this is my fun because I don't do it as work. I enjoy rhyming things. I enjoy singing it out.
Yeah. So in life, there is fun and there is pain and there is loss and there is gain.
And there is happiness and there's pain and there's sun and rain and loss and gain.
Got it.
And this happens again and again. Okay. So when I tell people there's something called eternal bliss, they laugh. They say, what do you mean by eternal bliss? Because I don't know what's eternal bliss. Happiness comes and happiness goes. But eternal bliss forever flows. So the problem is, one moment you're happy and one moment you're sad.
Yeah.
So since you like poems and rhymes, I tell people, if you can be glad, but you choose to be sad, then you're mad. Because happiness is a choice.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah. And so from the world you're coming, I'm going to ask you this question as well. People think that success is happiness. So money is happiness, success is happiness. If my movie is a hit, then I'm happy. If the box office, how much collection. But tell me, you know so many people in the glamorous world. Are all these so-called successful people, rich people, are they really happy?
No.
So then comes to your question, what is real happiness? What is happiness according to you before I give you my thought?
Well, eternal happiness is what I was exploring with you. So it's hard to answer this question, really. I think it's something that we're all trying to understand better. But I've realized, like you said, happiness is a choice. Every day we wake up and we choose to be happy.
Right.
And everybody's lives have ups and downs. And I've had my share too, and I continue to, and I will as we go forward. But our response to a situation changes when we choose to be happy.
Correct.
And I feel like for me, happiness is in the moments that I share with my loved ones. Happiness is in the moments where I watch the rain, or I watch the sunset, or I watch a beautiful flower. Happiness is eating food that I relish, that somebody's cooked with love. Happiness is being able to make a difference in somebody's life. Happiness is being able to do the work that gives me joy. and furthers my purpose. Happiness is in this interaction right now, right here.
Yeah.
So happiness has various, forms and shades and colors, and I think it varies in degrees, but it's something that you can find in almost everything.
But still people are unhappy. People find,
I've been there too.
You've been right?
I've been there.
Yeah, and especially in Bollywood, you hear top stars sometimes say, some of your friends, oh, I have had depression.
Yes.
So let's quickly explore all this.
Right.
So you must have heard this, you must have heard the song, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, right? So I tell people, if you want to be happy, just accept. If you want to be happy, just accept.
Yeah.
You must learn to accept and not just expect. If you want to be happy, just accept.
Yeah, that's a very powerful insight and very deep, because I realized when I was unhappy that the reason for my unhappiness was the fact that I was not able to accept the circumstance in my life.
See how it just...
And that was forming so much resistance in my mind and my heart that I was not able to seek joy out of anything.
Why is it that? Why is it we don't want to accept? Do you realize that?
Because we have an idea of what life should be, or how things should be, or how people should be with us.
Correct. And we want something to happen.
Yeah.
But does it always happen that what you want happens?
No.
No.
Sometimes better things happen. You just allow them to happen.
Correct. Sometimes if you learn the acronym of happiness. Have you heard the acronym of happiness?
No.
So let me start with that, because it's all
Connected.
twining. Okay. So the word happiness, to me, HAPPINESS. So H stands for having faith, hope, trust, and enthusiasm.
Right.
So if you have that faith, then good things will happen. You trust, you have that enthusiasm from that word, Greek word entheos. So you're in that.
Yeah.
A stands for accept, don't protest. Right? P stands for peace. For peace is the foundation of happiness.
True.
And the second P, HAPP, stands for finding the purpose of life. If you find the purpose of life, you're liberated from all misery. And I stands for in the now, learning to live in the now. And N stands for flipping from negative to positive. We say NEP to PEP. Negative energy has poison, positive energy has power.
Yeah.
And E, I don't know how much you've explored this, I've written several books on it. E is the ecstasy of divine love. Where there is ecstasy of divine love, there is bliss.
As a mother, I've felt it. I felt it with my children.
There are 7 colors in the rainbow of love. I will leave it, if you have time,
we'll get to that.
So HAPPINE, and S stands for surrender. And the last S, what you spoke about, meditation, stands for silence that leads to consciousness. In Hindi, there's a term called Sat Chit Anand. It is that Ananda that comes from silence, or Sat Chit, the consciousness of truth.
Correct.
So if you keep this happiness acronym, anytime you're unhappy, you can easily make out where you're going wrong.
Yeah.
HAPPINESS. I don't know if you heard this as a song. Many people, they can't surrender. And there's a beautiful song, I always say it to myself. It says, when I was just a little boy,
I asked my mother, what will I be?
Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me.
Que sara, sara. True.
How beautiful it is to say, whatever will be the futures. So we don't surrender. In Bombay.
There's another thing my mother used to say. So this was one song we used to sing a lot, especially when days looked really hard and felt overwhelming. And the other one she would say is parce in French, which is because.
Parce.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because. It is. And so it is.
So you know what is the meaning of this parce? Have you thought about it?
No.
Beautiful. But tell me, which is the favorite fruit you eat?
Banana.
Banana, very good.
Easy.
Have you seen in Bangalore, we have banana trees on which mangoes grow?
Huh?
Have you seen?
No.
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 Why not?
Because it doesn't exist.
So why are there bananas on the banana tree? Have you thought about it?
Because that's the fruit the tree is supposed to bear.
But why?
Because that's the composition of the
No,
plant.
because that's the seed you planted.
The seed you planted, yes, yes.
Now, if you've planted banana seeds, what's going to come on the fruit tree?
Bananas.
And if you're expecting mangoes?
You'll be disappointed.
So now just think about what your mother said.
Or miserable.
You know what your mother said? Pask. I've learned the word from you today. Pask. Because of the seed.
Yeah.
The seed you plant will decide the fruit on the tree. The deed you plant will decide your destiny.
True.
Now, if something is happening, tell me why it's happening.
Because it's meant to be.
No, past.
Past. Because.
Why?
Because of your action.
Exactly. That's why the reaction.
Yeah, but not always. I don't agree with this fully.
Okay, tell me why you don't agree.
So I won't agree with this for children who are suffering in war zones.
Excellent.
So
and children who are born blind?
Yeah, that's what I was actually coming to. Children who are born with, very debilitating physical handicaps.
So have you thought why?
No, it's too painful.
There was a New York Times bestseller, a book called Why Bad Things Happen to Good People by Harold Kushner.
Right.
So he says he's a Judaist rabbi.
Right.
And he says, God, I have been serving you in the synagogue for 20 years. His son is 13 years old and he's got progeria, which means the son is now looking like 60 years when he's 13 and the son dies. Now people ask him, tell me why this happened. He said there are only two possibilities. This God is evil or this God is incapable. And then he says, he's a rabbi.
Yeah.
He says, my God can't be evil. So what does he conclude in the book? My God is incapable. Now, Dia, tell me, I can see divinity in you. Do you believe that whoever this God is that God incapable? Would you believe that?
No.
No. So now comes to a very important word. I don't know whether you believe in it or not. It's called karma. Do you believe in karma?
It's hard, again, going back to the same question I asked you. It's hard to believe in karma. When horrible things happen to newborn babies or little children,
You know why?
Hard.
You know why we don't believe? Because we don't understand how it works. Now, you just said, you laughed when I said on the banana tree, if I get mangoes. Nobody can change it.
Yeah.
If we understand karma, the law of action and reaction, the law of cause and effect.
That I get. The cause and effect I get. I think it's not always tied into the individual then, because it's the land that has reacted or responded to a situation for centuries that has brought them,
What do you think?
And the destiny of many others get impacted by that.
So I don't know whether you're going to, where this question is going to take us, because you've gone away from our original question.
Yes, we have.
Quickly, I'm going to ask you this.
It all ties into happiness.
Yeah. So do you believe in the
eternal happiness.
Correct. So we're going to come to that.
Yes.
So do you believe in the concept of rebirth?
I won't say I believe it, but I am curious about it.
Okay, you don't disbelieve it?
No, I don't disbelieve it. I won't reject it.
Let's quickly, because it's to do with eternal happiness.
Right.
Let's quickly try to see if we can touch it. Do you believe in death?
I've witnessed it.
Will you die one day?
We all will die one day.
No.
We don't die at all.
No. Diya Mirza will die.
Yeah.
But people will say you passed away. When you see somebody pass away, what do you say? When somebody dies, you say.
So it's an ongoing journey.
Correct. So who passed away?
The identity or the name.
So tell me.
But even that doesn't.
So when you see
because those who love you will always remember you.
Have you seen a person who has passed away in front of your eyes?
Yes.
So is there a difference between somebody who's alive and who's dead?
Yeah.
What is the difference?
The body is immobile.
So what happened? What do you think happened? Something left this body?
That I don't know, but the person is still. There is
Correct.
no.
What is making you talk now? What is making you listen to me talk? And what is it that's making you do that?
It's a combination of many things.
What did you call it? In your own words.
Physical senses, being alive.
So what is making you alive?
All the senses combined.
Correct. What is making them alive?
All their senses combined.
But, okay, what is making this light glow?
Electricity.
So if there's no electricity?
There's no energy.
So in you, there was no electricity?
There would be no energy.
So do you believe there's some electricity in you?
Yes, of course.
What is that electricity?
Energy.
What is it, energy?
Energy never dies.
And in the dead person that you saw, was there energy there?
No.
So now I'm asking you, and we're not talking religion.
I think that is what is passed on.
Now are you with me?
Yes.
So the difference between a dead person and a person who's alive. So a song I wrote, it says, ऐसे भी कई चीजें हैं जो दिखती ना महसूस हम करते रोशनी मिट जाती जैसे बिजली जाए अंधकार हो जैसे बिजली को कोई देख ना सकता शंका पर कोई ना करता तुझ पे लोग क्यों शंका करते तुझ पे लोग क्यों शंका करते तू ना हो तो मर जाते हम सर झुका के मैं जीता.
Lovely.
Did you get what?
Yes, of course.
So Diya, you are Diya. You are a light. That light is inside you. And that light leaves. Nobody denies what we learned in school. You and me learned energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. So a person, and this is eternal happiness. Eternal happiness is realizing I am not Diya.
Yeah.
Did they tell you my name? My full name?
Ravi.
I'm not Ravi. This is Ravi. I'm not this. I'm the Atma. N is silent. I'm the Atma in Ravi. Tell me what do you understand? I'm the Atma in Ravi. Do you call it Ruh, or do you still call it Atma, or do you call it soul? Because you've had a multi-religious experience. I want to touch that before the end of today. But what do you call it?
All. You can refer to it.
It's like pani and water, right?
Absolutely.
Both are the same.
It's the same thing.
So I got this awakening. I'm that. In the Upanishad, I don't know if you heard of they say, Neti, Neti, Tattvamasi. Neti, Neti means not this, not this.
Yeah.
You are not this body. Of course, you are gorgeous, you're beautiful. And you must have heard 10,000 people telling that. So you are that. But that's what you are in bone and skin. But the real beauty of you is like what lies within.
Yeah, of course.
And that is the Diya. That is the Diya today which I'm enamored by. I'm enamored by your grace and by your aura. Not by what the world sees as a gorgeous Bollywood girl.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing the real divine person who's got such a spiritual aura today in front of me. So all this Diya is that way to eternal happiness. Quickly, I'm coming back to your question. In this world, people think, what is happiness? Success, name, fame, money, achievement. Correct?
Because we're being raised in a world and a society that is driven by consumerism, right? When you're only taught to take, and everything has a price tag attached to it, then you think that those are the things that give you happiness when in fact they don't.
But what did you say? What gives you happiness? I just remember you telling me, I like the rain, I like the sunrise, the sunset. This is what you just said?
Making connections with people.
And because the first...
None of those things have a price tag.
Correct. The first step, the idea of happiness, is called pleasure.
Yeah.
The second step of happiness is called peace.
Yes.
Tell me, you're having a party. You're having a great party and you get some bad news. Does the pleasure continue?
No, it doesn't.
Why? What happened?
Because
you lose peace of mind.
Yeah.
But do you know that the first step is pleasure, the second step is peace, the third step is purpose.
Yes.
And when you discover
that changed my life.
What did you discover that changed your life?
My purpose. It was when I realized that nothing gives me more joy than making deep connections with people and helping make a positive change in our world.
And you started doing that.
Yes, actively across all mediums, whether it was through the choices of characters that I play in film, or the advocacy work I do outside of film work, or the interactions I have with people or children. It's all connected, and everything kind of, is interlinked so smoothly.
So this eternal happiness is when you reach that state, not of achievement or pleasure, not of fulfillment and peace, but purpose and enlightenment. So my mission of life
is to help people discover this.
Yeah.
Yes, what a wonderful mission to be on.
Because I don't need money. I have enough to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And I know the story of money is very funny because I can't take with me a penny. But still,
Yeah, true.
the rich are wanting to become richer. And I asked them the question, if happiness depends on money, then the rich should be glad.
Yeah.
But look at them and you'll find many of them are sad.
True. So true.
This is the crux. How can people learn? And one of the things you said, that we must live in the now.
Yeah.
So there's a famous Bollywood song. And I do two things. I write my own tunes and I write also on famous tunes. So this tune says, Apna hai ye pal, kal apna na hai. खोया जिसने पल जीवन खोया है जो इस पल में जीता वो ही सच में जीता वरना जीना तो ये मरना है.
So true. Okay, I'm going to ask you a very direct, simple question.
Yes.
ये सब देख रहे हैं. They're saying, अच्छा, these two are talking about eternal happiness. They're talking about purpose. They're talking about peace. They're talking about enlightenment. How does one ignite this light within? I think I found a way, but I want you to tell everybody, how did you find it? And how can everybody else find it? I'm not the guru, you are. You're the leader. So you lead the way for this answer.
When somebody tells me that, I tell them, मैं क्या हूँ कुछ भी नहीं, सब कुछ तुम ही हो प्रभु, तुम बिन मैं क्या कुछ भी ना, लहर एक हूँ मैं प्रभु, आता मैं जाता प्रभु, तू है समुंदर सारा, तुझ में समाता प्रभु. So the answer, I told you I sing a lot, and this is when somebody asks me a question,
well
I get to. So I always tell people, I started with nothing. I became something. I achieved everything, only to realize we are nothing.
Yeah.
So my realization is this. How did I get that spark of enlightenment? I went in quest for different things. I went in quest for, how can I be happy? I loved a God. How can I get my God? I want my God. What is the truth about rebirth? What is the soul? What is karma? What is reincarnation? What is this heaven and hell which people tell? I found it ridiculous. I found all these questions and I went on a quest. I had a spiritual mentor, Dada Vaswani, and he guided me. He was teaching several thousands of people. And I went for 2 years. I shut off. I went on a retreat. And I started putting together what I call a spiritual jigsaw puzzle. Every piece of that puzzle that I put in became, when you make a jigsaw puzzle, when you get the aha moment.
And the picture emerged.
Then the picture came. So I tell that when the picture came, it came to me as, सच को कोई ना जानता, ये अपरोक्ष अनुभूति है, इसका कोई सबूत ना, सच का एहसास होना है, प्रभु तो है हर जगह, वो हमें ना दिखते हैं, उनके बिन तो कुछ भी ना, वो है तो हम सब हैं. This is the spark. And Diya, this body that you and me have, it's called a Navadwara Nagari. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
So we have 9 doors. 2, 4, 6, 7, an organ of procreation and excretion.
Yes.
But Guru Nanak said, Dasmay Dwar Kholo. Open the. A lot of people talk to me and they say, third eye. And when you pointed out here, right, they talk of third. And there's no physical door.
No.
Is it that this eye is going to split open and shh? Or do what these mythological stories that you see? No. So you have to stop going outside, then you will go inside. We are so much lost in the noise, we don't hear the inner voice.
Yeah.
There's an inner voice. Like you, what did you tell me? I did meditation for many years because you were trying to come over some misery. Then you got lost in the glamour world and you got lost in your work. And then again, there's something went wrong.
Yeah.
And again, you tried to do. What did meditation do? It made you still.
Yeah.
It got you into a state, what I call a state of consciousness. You know, the biggest challenge there is to flip from mind to consciousness. This
Right.
MK50, I told you, 50,000.
Especially in today's world,
Yeah.
where we're bombarded with media. There's social media. You're constantly exposed to so many images and people and sights and sounds. And if you live in cities and urban centers like Mumbai or Delhi or even Bengaluru, it's like a complete attack on your senses, 24/7.
Correct.
And where is the respite? Where is the space for peace? Which is why I think being able to go inward is a challenge for many.
It's a challenge, but for a person like you, for example, you made it a discipline in your life.
Yeah, that's why we have to, no?
So you still do it every day?
Yes.
How much time do you
We
spend?
bathe and brush our teeth, and
How much time you try to spend?
minimum 20 minutes.
Fantastic. So what I try to do now, I try to have that moment of withdrawal or silence after every episode of what I do. For example, we are talking.
Yeah.
After this, what I
We
should...
retreat into silence for a bit.
Just for moments.
Yes.
It may be...
But even it's interesting, I noticed this recently. Children have very heightened present moment awareness. Babies, toddlers don't think about कल क्या होने वाला है, कल मुझे स्कूल जाना है, मुझे नहीं जाना है स्कूल, मैं आज शाम में पार्क जाऊंगा या जाऊंगी, वहां पे स्लाइड पे खेलूंगी. They're not contemplating about the future or the past.
Right.
They are in the present moment, whatever they're doing, whether they're playing or they're reading or they're listening to music or singing a song or eating. So whenever I'm with my children, I feel like I'm meditating.
Because of the innocence, right?
Not just that, because you're not thinking about anything else.
But-
you're just being with that action, whatever that is.
But suppose somebody gave us $100 million.
That's also like meditation, I would imagine.
Suppose somebody gave us $100 million and told us, go back to yesterday and change what you ate for dinner. Can we do it? Oh, because you ate. And if somebody told us, you go to tomorrow and change this, do this for me tomorrow. Can we do that? Then tell me, if we can't go to yesterday and tomorrow, then who's going?
In the present moment.
No, do you often lose the present moment?
Of course.
And then you're living in the past. What is
You
the...
miss something. Sometimes in a conversation, if you're not present in the conversation,
You're lost.
you may miss something beautiful a person has said,
Correct.
or important, or urgent, or whatever.
And then there's regret, shame, guilt, all this. We all experience this.
Absolutely.
And then in future, you spoke about a word. There's fear, there's worry, there's stress. If we can't go to tomorrow and to yesterday, then who's going? Have you thought of it?
Now mind.
Very good. So tell me, if you say it's the mind, I have a question to ask you. Have you ever seen the mind?
No, I don't.
So this is a ball. I, as a happiness ambassador, I give people this ball and just see what's the message on the ball.
Make a vow to be happy in the now. Yes, well said.
So what is the shape of this?
Round.
Round. What is the shape of the mind?
Must be round.
Have you ever seen the mind?
No.
Nobody has seen the mind. You know why?
Because it's vast.
No.
It's empty.
No. Do you know why?
Why?
Because it doesn't exist.
Ooh.
Now I'm going to tell you two very important things.
Wow.
I hope
Okay, that's something new.
Okay. It doesn't exist, but it appears to be. And then along with the mind, it adds the ego and becomes me. The mind appears to be, and with the ego, it becomes mind and ego me. And this is the biggest problem. Now, we talked about thoughts and you talked about meditation. What happens in meditation when you have so many thoughts and you come like this, like this, like this, and you come here and there are no thoughts, then what happens to the mind?
There's peace.
Mind
It's empty.
disappears. Do you know why the mind
It's
disappears?
empty. It's almost like it doesn't exist.
It actually doesn't exist.
Wow.
And you know what I say? I tell people, where there is a peace of mind, there is no peace of mind.
Good one. It's an outstanding. You are just spouting these lines, which I don't think I'll ever forget, but there's too many to kind of, I have to write them all down or just read your books and underline them.
And I'll say, so, but do you agree or not?
Yes.
So you...
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So the point is that when we are in the state of mind, now I'm going to tell you something which probably you will like.
I've liked everything you've said so far. So the probability of this also is quite high.
So, when the body dies, it is the me, the mind and ego that carries unsettled karma and comes back to earth in a birth.
Okay.
Now, this is not some humbug. I'm not trying to give you... I want you to contemplate on this in your meditation and see whether it makes sense later on.
Yeah.
That's why a child is born blind. Not because God is cruel or God is unkind or God is not powerful enough. The law of action and reaction doesn't end at death.
It continues.
You leave tell me, are you fortunate with what type of life you are living today?
Yes, of course.
Are you much more fortunate than millions and billions of people?
Of course.
Why?
I was lucky.
You believe in luck?
I mean,
How do you spell luck?
L-U-C.
Wrong.
Okay,
Luck is spelled P-L-U-C-K.
luck.
You don't have luck, you pluck. What do you pluck?
No, but AiR, you have to acknowledge, I acknowledge this fact that those who are born with some privilege have better means and access. We live in an extremely unequal world.
Do you know why?
That can't be karma.
Do you know, my dear Diya.
Okay. We're
My dear Diya.
We're going to be talking forever.
When the time is up, the lights will go off like in your sets. There's a song.
Okay.
He says, I don't know if you heard this song. It says, the tune. वो क्या मेरी तकदीर जो पैदा हुआ मैं संसार में आया मैं संसार में आया मैं क्यों क्या मैंने किया है मुक्ति मुझे पाना है मुझे मोक्ष पाना है फिर क्यों फंसा मैं संसार में मैं फंसा क्यों क्या मैंने किया है? This is what you're telling me in your own words. You're saying there are people who are being treated unfairly.
Yes.
Therefore, like how I believed, you're saying this world is many times unfair. Why is the
And
inequality?
also extremely unequal. Very, very unequal.
Why? Okay, let me ask you. You're very
That
intelligent.
is the doing of the human race. We created inequality.
Correct. Why? Tell me why.
Because some people drive all their choices from a place of ego that is destroying the lives of many millions of others. And that's not their karma.
Think
That's
about
the
it.
only thing I'm saying.
Then whose karma? The only thing that you're not getting in place with what I believe
Yeah.
is you're not realizing.
Many times an individual's choice has a far-reaching impact on many other lives.
Correct. And
That's what I believe.
no, that's fine. Let's reverse the game. Let's reverse the question. In today's world, are you finding that vast majority are very, very good people, or there are a smaller minority who are really good and the others are just living either ordinary or bad lives?
No, I feel, in fact, I've shared this with so many of my friends and colleagues and my family. There are lots of kind, wonderful people who are very present and alive to their life and the world around them. But that percentage is pretty small. And there are most people who seem to be living but are not alive.
You know why? Now you're getting to the truth of the matter. Enlightenment, we spoke about, is
Which
real.
is why the work that you're doing is so important.
But we must realize now, if you're Diya, that's the light of Diya must light this world with the truth.
Yeah.
See, for example, from the time you were a kid, you and me have been taught the lie that God lives in the sky. Have you all been taught about this? एक ऊपर वाला है, ऊपर वाला, वो कौन है ऊपर वाला? किधर है ऊपर वाला?
Nobody tells you that God resides within you.
But the scriptures tell you.
Yeah.
All scriptures, all religions. I can pick up right from the Hindu, the Christian, all scriptures tell you that the temple of God is within.
Absolutely.
So I tell people, इंसान मैं नहीं सच में भगवान हूँ, दिखता जो मैं वो नहीं आत्मा मैं हूँ, अनुभूति हो गई एहसास हो गया, नेति नेति तत्वमसि, ये नहीं वो मैं हूँ. When I'm telling you this, you're wondering, with what basis are you telling me this? Can I ask you a question? Don't you think you are this? This is you? Or that is you? You look at the mirror.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's me in the mirror?
No.
No? Then who do you think you are?
I am my actions, my choices.
So let me ask you. You wanted me to tell you a little bit about enlightenment. So I'm putting the first question. Tell me, who are you?
I'm a being.
So when you meet people, what do you say? Who are you? What do you say?
I give them my name.
You say, I'm Dia Mirza.
Yeah.
But you know you're not Dia Mirza.
Of course.
Then who are you?
I'm a being.
Very good. What is this being?
It's energy. It's something that.
And if somebody asks you the question, can you justify this? Can you?
I know it's hard.
You will from today onwards.
Okay.
Ready? I'm going to give you a small thing.
Sure.
So tell me, in school when you learned biology, this beautiful body, when it came, what's the day called?
Birthday.
You know that's fake.
Because you weren't born then.
So when were you born?
You've existed.
When?
Forever.
No! So here I'm going to tell you, and this is going to change your paradigm, I hope. Because I know you're very receptive, and I know that you will not listen to me blindly, but you will listen and you will contemplate.
Sure.
Because they will become like seeds that are in your subconscious, and when you're in meditation, these thoughts will come. So Diya Mirza was born as a small baby. She had no name.
No.
But she was not born on that day called her birthday, which is on your passport or Aadhaar card. So when people sing, don't they sing happy birthday to you?
Yeah.
You know what I sing? I say happy arrival day to you.
Yeah, it's the day you arrive in the physical world.
So when were you actually born?
I don't know, when you were conceived.
When was it about?
When your heart starts to beat.
When were you conceived? As a mother?
Yeah.
When is the child conceived?
When two people come together.
Two cells of your mother and father
and
become one.
Join, yeah.
And that happens how many months before?
9 months.
Exactly. Now your mind is trying to confuse you. We all know in biology, we all have studied. It's scientific.
Yes, of course.
Now, when you were conceived 9 months before, can you change your mother after that?
No.
Why not?
Because you're already embedded. You're living. You've made your place of residence.
So am I talking garbage now, or I'm talking facts?
No, you're talking facts.
Now
I'm just curious to see where this is leading.
Excellent. Now, Diya.
Yeah.
So by now you know that you were not born on your birthday. Okay. So you know you were born 9 months before. Now comes the second most important question. If you were born, conceived 9 months before, at that point, what were you?
2 cells that came.
You were 2 or you became?
1.
What created that one cell?
The unison of 2 cells.
Correct. But you think, tell me from your awareness, what do you think, just like what creates a fire? When you want to light a fire, what creates a fire?
Something has to ignite it.
So you use a matchstick,
Strike
right?
something. When
So
you're
what-
striking two stones together, you're using
so
a matchbox.
great, right? So we are on the same page. So what do you think? What created that fusion?
Energy,
What is that energy called?
life,
And other names for it?
God.
But God, people will not agree. I will come back. But that's what I call, whether you call it
Life force.
life force, and some people call it soul, spirit, Atma, Ruh. There's some life.
Yeah.
Like you call it life. I call it SOUL. You know what's SOUL? It's a spark of unique life. SOUL.
Do you think plants and animals and like trees have souls as well?
Absolutely. Do you think this table has a soul?
It would definitely carry memories because it's got impressions.
This is what your mind is catching impressions from the world.
Yeah.
But I'm asking you.
But no,
if
these
you-
lines are showing age.
That's fine.
So
But
there must be
how?
something that it's carrying.
Tell me, Diya, how do you differentiate whether
Like I
this?
know water has memory.
Agreed. But do you believe
Plants communicate with each other. They also have memory. Elephants have memory that lasts centuries.
But only if you and me have an elephant, we really know whether this is true or not. Otherwise, we only
There's no other way of explaining how
By
they know
through-
their parts.
correct. And through inference, and
Yeah.
also through inference, right?
Correct, absolutely.
But do you differentiate between animate and inanimate?
Yes, of course.
So what is animate and what is inanimate?
The same thing that we discussed earlier, living and dead.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this fellow, will this fellow die?
It's been made from a dead tree.
But now will it die?
How can it die again?
Okay. So I'm saying everything that is alive, that has birth and death has a soul. And something which is already dead,
Can't possibly have
because the soul has already.
left.
Now but today, science has discovered in last year, 2022, 3 physicists were given the Nobel Prize for their work in quantum physics and quantum mechanics. What did they discover? I don't know if you're familiar with this.
Yes, I have.
Scientists, I was telling you,
Yes.
they have discovered
In 2022.
2022, a Nobel Prize was given. They talk something called wave-particle duality.
Yes. I remember reading about it somewhere.
That means every particle of this table
Has energy.
has energy. And we learned in school, right? The nucleus is moving.
Yes, of course.
Now try to...
So even in an inanimate object, there is life.
No,
No,
there is energy.
energy. Right. And energy is life?
No, soul is. So if you have, though that we can divide this into 2 parts.
Okay.
One which lives and dies, and one which energy which doesn't live and die. The animate and the inanimate. So a spark of unique life will be born and will die, but every molecule of this universe is energy.
Okay. I'm going to tie it into a very important question.
Go ahead.
We've spoken about the light. I'm assuming the light is that energy, the
Absolutely.
discovery of that energy.
Yes.
Do you believe there is a need for this light in this world? And how does one find it?
Actually, whether you and me think there is need for the light or not, it doesn't matter. This whole world is the light.
Yeah.
This whole world,
No, but what about those people who are not alive to that?
they are in darkness. So because of darkness, अविद्या के कारण हम सब तड़पते, अंधकार में जीते और फिर हम मरते, पुनर्जन्म फिर हम लेते, मुक्ति नहीं हम पाते.
So you believe that we are in this world to be happy?
To be happy and to be enlightened and to be liberated. Have you heard of the word nirvana,
Yes.
moksha,
Yes.
salvation,
Yes.
liberation?
Yes.
What's all this? One word. One. Do you know that you are not Diya? You are the light of the divine. You are in reality a manifestation of the divine. These people don't know. This is enlightenment.
Yeah, I think people would treat themselves much better if they understood that.
There would be no war.
There'd be no war, there'd be no addictions, there would be no suffering.
We think we are 2 separate bodies. I ask people, have you ever seen the right hand punch the left hand?
No.
The right leg kick the left leg?
No.
Why not?
Because we wouldn't do that.
No, because this is me.
Yes.
But I would do it to you because I think you and me are separate. We don't realize that we may appear to be two different bodies.
Yeah.
But the energy which is in you and me
It's the same.
is the same.
Yes.
And when we realize that, we are enlightened. Is it so difficult? Suppose I take a balloon.
Yes.
I blow the balloon. Now I burst it. Can you tell me where's the air gone? Where?
It's mixed with the
It
air.
merges with the air. That is. So does
Not
the.
separated.
So does the soul.
Yes.
When a person is. What happened to the life? Where did it go? And then we burn or bury our dear ones, and then we put a photograph and pray to that. When we have ourselves destroyed the body. It's already, we may have a memory of that, but that person's life is over. The moment one is gone, the next moment they are reborn.
Interesting.
In a moment.
That's a conversation for another day. Today, let's just stay with enlightenment
So go ahead.
and eternal happiness.
Yeah.
You know, I remember reading something very powerful that the Buddha said, which we've also touched upon, that the purpose of life is to be happy. Do you really believe this?
Every human being seeks pleasure.
I see this in flowers. I see it in flowers more than any other.
What they were seeking.
Yeah, but just being and giving joy. Like, it almost is like the flower arrives and it says, I'm happy. I've never seen a sad flower.
Lovely.
Right?
Yeah.
And I've never seen one flower compare itself with another flower. So I've always felt like flowers are possibly the only living creatures or beings that remind you that the purpose of life is to be happy.
Have you ever had a dog as a pet?
Yes, of course.
How much love and happiness the dog has.
Unimaginable.
Then you slap it, he'll come and lick you.
That though, it's just incredible how pets are, but they're also very responsive to a person's energy. They react to the way they're treated. Like, pets can be sponges of
Correct. So who's the one who's unhappy?
their families.
Who's the one who are unhappy?
The family must be, which is why the pet becomes unhappy.
I'm saying generally, if the flower is happy, if the
Yeah.
dog is happy,
People with people who think their problems define them.
human beings are unhappy.
People, yeah.
What did Buddha say? Buddha used a word.
Yeah.
He said, "Ye samsar dukha hai." Buddha said the samsar is
And he didn't mean the natural world.
No,
he
he-
meant the human world.
only human
Right.
beings. Because only the human beings are not satisfied with their need. They made their need into their greed.
Yeah. Unless they're greedy for good.
Yeah. And we're never satisfied.
Yeah.
So, the Buddha, he says samsara is dukkha. And that's why he created nirvana. Of course, the Buddha is very unique. You know, he just kept so many things ambiguous he spoke about shunyata, anatta.
Yeah.
So people, since you read about it, it's beautiful. For the one
But
who
it's
is...
hard to kind of really understand.
Yeah, because-
unless you spend years and years in contemplation.
But he's speaking amazing for those who are in the quest.
Yeah.
He's only saying one thing. Forget about God. Forget about anything. He's only saying one thing. Attain nirvana. Nirvana is escape from rebirth. Be in a state of peace. Don't do bad. Do good karma. And serve and be happy. And don't have desire. So can I ask you a question on this? Can you overcome all desires?
No, it's hard.
So what is the way out?
To find peace as much as possible.
But how do you do? We all have desires.
For me, I have my discipline, which I've shared with you.
I found something only yesterday.
What?
You cannot overcome desires because if you try, they will make you burst. If you suppress a desire, but I found something very beautiful. You can transform your desire.
Into?
So instead of having a desire for the material world, you can have a desire for a spiritual thing. Instead of loving the skin, you can love the divine that is within. So the same passion, the same desire can transcend, can take an exit.
Yeah.
For example, you're driving on a
Take a
highway.
new form.
Take a new form. And this is what you asked me. You said, so the Buddha, we human beings seem to be fitted with a drive called the pleasure-pain drive. We all want pleasure, we don't want pain. We want to be, and we do everything possible trying to be happy.
True.
But we are unhappy.
Okay, so in this journey of enlightenment, are there questions that we need to definitely find answers to?
We need to answer the two most important questions in life. The first question, who am I?
I was going to say that. Who am I?
So by now you know? Am I Diya Mirza?
No.
So who am I?
I'm that being, that light,
And now
that energy.
And what did I tell you what I call that? S-O-U.
S-O-U-L.
And what is it? It's a spark of unique life.
Yes.
Is your soul the same as anybody else of Bollywood? It's yours.
And I think the most important aspect of what you just said is that unique. Word unique.
Because it's your...
That's what ties into authenticity. That's what ties into your voice. Your inner voice.
That's energy. That's your energy.
Yeah.
So if you realize that, then I'm going to ask you the next question. If you are that divine spark, you call it, I like what you call it. You say it's life.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
Your best. And it's beautiful. You please don't, only remember it from my perspective,
Yes.
so you know what.
That I'll never forget.
in the Islamic world, they call it ruh.
Yes.
Ruh. And in the Hindu world, they call it Atma.
Atman, whatever.
That I am beyond religion. For me, religion is a kindergarten. All religions are good, all. But the university is spirituality.
Correct.
And spirituality is not a religion. You know, religion starts your journey to God. And then what does it do, you know? Every religion makes you go round and round and round telling you this is my God and my scripture and my beliefs and we're all going in those individual circles and we forget the supreme.
Yeah.
So I say God is not God. God is SIP, S-I-P, a supreme immortal power.
Correct.
Of all religions. There are no hundreds and millions of gods. There's no Ram sitting in Ayodhya and Krishna sitting in Vrindavan and Jesus born in Bethlehem. Sorry, there's one power. All the religions of this world are talking, but unfortunately there is no enlightenment. I don't know where we were, but...
What are the two questions?
So the
first question was, who am I?
Second question, what is our purpose on earth?
Yes.
Can you answer?
We have to find our own unique purpose.
No.
No? To be happy?
Happy is our basic purpose. It's our intrinsic need.
Okay. You tell me.
Our purpose is to be liberated from this body which will suffer and become the one we truly are. What are we in reality according to you? By now you know what we are. You said, what are we? We are?
S-O-U-L.
S-O-U-L.
Energy.
And that energy is present where in the world?
Everywhere.
Our purpose is to become one with that supreme energy. And the moment we become one with the supreme energy there, then what happens?
Peaceful.
And then what happens?
Your light is ignited.
And then what happens?
You're happy.
And then you attain eternal happiness. Because you don't come back in another body.
Okay.
Now, there's a big purpose. This is nirvana. This is nirvana. This is moksha. This is salvation. You've heard all these words before, but you didn't know that all this just means one thing. At death, one of two things happens. Do you know that? At death,
yes,
death
there's
happens.
actually very interesting scientific studies that have been presented now by doctors who work with terminally ill cancer patients and who've kind of almost died or died and come back.
Near death, near the NDE.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's fascinating,
Yeah.
their discoveries.
Correct. But what happens, do you think, at death? You know.
They see their whole lives. That's one of the things
That's
that
the
happens.
mind.
Or they're confronted by their fears.
That's the mind. See,
And there's some, like I remember my mom being in a coma and she said she could see her physical body.
Correct. All that is true.
Yeah.
But it is not death. Because she came back alive.
Yeah.
So at death there, one of two things will happen. Either our pending, see when we die, do you think, suppose I die now, have I settled all my karma?
No.
Impossible, right? Because death happens, either good or bad karma. So at death, if I have karma, I will come back to earth. And then I'll go and I'll come back. And I may come as a flower, they say. I don't know. And I may come back. And this I'm not saying. This is all belief system. Like Buddha believed that you may be born as a dog. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to comment on that. But I'm only saying one of two things happen. If there is karma, then we come to earth. Mm-hmm. But if there's no karma, then we don't come to earth.
Where do we go?
We become one with the supreme energy.
Is that the sun?
That is the energy.
In our constellation?
No, that is even the sun is part of that energy. What about all the when you look up at the night?
There's so many planets.
Millions of
in
stars.
Our constellation, then plus there are other constellations.
So Diya, what's all that?
Must be something.
Can we define it? Can we define it?
No.
We cannot define, we cannot comprehend. It is beyond our comprehension. If you try to empty.
But that's how I always say, like, look at the magic of this planet. I mean, it's incredible. There's no other planet that we know of that sustains the diversity of life that this planet does. That's magical.
Have you heard of a movie called Satyam Shivam Sundaram?
Yes. I didn't think this conversation would lead to Satyam Shivam.
Tell me, what is the meaning of Satyam Shivam Sundaram?
Satyam is truth. Shivam is Shiva.
Not Shiva. It's God.
It's God.
It's one God. Huh?
And Sundaram is beauty.
What's the meaning? You're Bollywood, yeah. Come on. Bollywood people don't know.
Truth is God. Truth is beautiful.
The truth is God is beautiful. You're so gorgeous. If the God inside you leaves,
I wouldn't be so gorgeous.
No, you would disintegrate.
Yeah.
What about that beautiful flower that's so beautiful? What happens when the God or that life or the Atma leaves that plant? What happens to it?
And it dies.
So in that song he says,
but you know, even a wilted flower is beautiful. Even a wilted flower
it is beautiful. But it's, you know why it's beautiful? Because every atom still has that energy that we spoke about. I call it possimon. Possimon. Posiemon. Particle of sip in every molecule of matter. I've written a book called Possimon. So I've written a book called Soul. I've written a book called Possimon. But the Satyam Shivam Sundaram, he says, Ramavadh mein, Kashi mein Shiv, Kanha Brindavan mein, Daya karo Prabhu, dekho inko, Daya karo Prabhu, dekho inko, Har ghar ke aangan. Radha Mohan. What is the meaning? What do you think is the meaning?
It's everywhere now.
What's everywhere?
The truth.
The truth. What is the truth? What is this element of truth?
It's that energy.
It's that energy.
Yeah. I got you.
Really.
Have I attained enlightenment?
If you really got it, you have.
I did.
I'm telling you, this is the Diya. Now the Diya that's glowing outside has started glowing inside.
How wonderful. How absolutely wonderful. I have no more questions to ask you today, but I'm sure I'll have more questions along the way, and I hope I can reach out to you and connect.
Yeah, I'll give you.
But since we are here together, I'm wondering whether you have any questions for me.
Yeah, I want to ask you one very interesting. I have two major questions to ask you.
Okay.
One, tell me, I've spoken recently to many people in the Bollywood industry because I want this message to reach the world. And I thought the best way is to talk to you guys because people are listening to you guys.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And so when I talk to you guys, I can spread that message to people, right? So tell me, people in the industry, are they really happy? Or what are the problems they face? I'm not
I've
giving
said
names.
this to you before. I find that there is a lot of restlessness, there is a lot of insecurity, there's a lot of fear. And no, people are not entirely happy.
Do you know why?
I've understood that now through our
Because they don't realize the truth, right?
Yes.
People are lost trying to run after achievement.
Yes.
When I was running a business,
But that's true for all industries.
All
That's
of it.
true for the world that we inhabit because it's consumerist.
Yeah.
It's a world that has been created on the understanding that money is what fulfills your life and your needs and your desires, and it's what completes you and gives you everything that you want.
it's a myth.
It's a myth. It
When
totally is.
When I was in
There's this beautiful TED talk that I watched by an actor who became very famous initially because he spoke about how he carried this blank check that he had written to himself with millions of dollars on it. Do
Okay.
you know which actor I'm talking about? Hollywood actor. And then much later in life, he's done TED Talks on how it's the worst thing he could have done, not only for himself, but for the millions of people that were inspired by that action. Because he realized that after he made all those millions, thousands and millions of dollars, that he was desperately unhappy. That life is not, fulfilled by material acquisitions. It's not something that, people with less privilege may say, हाँ आपको तो बड़ा आसान है ये कहना क्योंकि आप तो एयर कंडीशन कार में घूमते हैं और ऐसे अच्छे अच्छे कपड़े पहन लेते हैं, आपको वो सब कुछ है जो हमारे पास नहीं है. तो हमारा our aspiration to have those things should not be questioned. And I understand that. But I realize that most people with lots of money eventually discover that that's not what drives happiness.
But it's so beautiful that you're inspired by this Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
Now look at how you can change the world. So for me, before I ask you my last question, I want you to realize you're Diya. You're a light. And today if you say that light has sparked.
But I've grown up with my mother and my father saying this to me.
But you never realized it.
You do in moments where you recognize the kind of love that you're able to ignite in people's hearts.
That's the difference between knowledge and realization.
Yeah.
You probably had a lot of knowledge, but I hope today that spark has, so you as Diya can now light that Diya and help people take that light within.
Yeah.
Because you have a reach. You have that's my purpose. Now you got my purpose. What's my purpose?
But we are completely tied by purpose.
Yeah, we are, yeah. And if we don't do that purpose, then what will happen? As I said, at the end of the life, we will just come back again and again. Tell me one more very important question.
So you are basically checking out.
Checking out what?
मतलब you've decided कि ये life में मेरे को वो सब कुछ करना है जो मैंने शायद पहले नहीं कर पाया.
No, because I'm awakened now.
Yeah.
See, what is the meaning
So
of...
you have no intentions of coming back to our beautiful planet in this form.
I can't.
Yeah.
Because I am not this. I am not this. So I say...
This is another conversation for another day.
So I only say, मैं तो ये तन मन ना हूँ ना मैं अहंकार, सच ये है मैं जानू मैं आत्मा और कुछ ना, एहसास हुआ फिर भी फंसा, एक युद्ध मेरे अंदर लड़ता मैं हमेशा. See, a person like Osho, people ask me, he supposed to have become like a Buddha. Then what happened? Then he got caught in the Rolls Royces and the Rolexes and the other things of life. And that Buddha means awakened. Today I believe, the way you said it, I got that. Yeah, that's the awakening. Now, do you want to be awakened or do you want to lose that light?
Yeah, it's easy to lose it if you forget.
If you forget, the next moment you will be caught in this world.
Absolutely.
There's a beautiful song on Maya. You know Maya?
Yes.
I tell people, माया चुपके से आके सच को छुपा के मिथ्य को दिखा के बोले ये संसार सच्चा है ना सच्चा सब कुछ माया है. Diya, this whole world is an illusion. But we are caught. You say, this is my baby, my son, my daughter, my house, my. मेरा क्या है? कुछ भी नहीं मेरा.
Yeah.
And this awakening, this is what is awakening. Before we close, you have had a very beautiful experience of several religions in your life. You were born in one religion and then the parents, and then I don't want to I don't want to confuse or make a mistake. Give me your experience and your learnings because people are confused about religion. So you're a lucky person in that sense that you've gone through all the religions. Throw some light on this.
I think you're absolutely right when you say all religions actually teach the same thing. So I was born to a Hindu mother and a Catholic father. I was raised by a Muslim parent. My adoptive father was Muslim, and I'm married to a Hindu. And my mother, is deeply spiritual. She loves visiting temples, gurudwaras, dargahs. In fact, she prayed for me at Salim Chishti. She was not able to conceive. And soon after she came back after trying to have a baby for almost 7-8 years, apparently soon after she came back from Salim Chishti, she discovered she was pregnant. Wow. So I've grown up with all of this. And I've, of course, grown up with my dadi saying her prayers 5 times a day, my adoptive father's mother. My father, who I lost when I was very young, but he really celebrated Easter and Christmas, and I remember painting Easter eggs and going on the Easter hunt and discovering, the beauty of and the importance of values and how all of these religions and their festivities are tied in actually to values and our understanding of how to live a better life. So for me, I've always believed that faith is personal and everybody must have their own faith, whatever form it may be in. And that all religions teach us to be good to each other and be peaceful and kind and loving and accepting.
So tell me, it's lovely to have a person like you who's experienced all the religions. So what do you believe? You had a father who was Christian first, so you prayed to Jesus Christ, obviously, in your young days.
Yeah, I've said the Lord's Prayer. I've gone to convents. I've been to a convent college, so I've said, So that's also interesting, right? Even through the education system or through the social experiences that we have in life, we spend so much time with our peers, our friends, discovering and gaining so much even from their own individual spiritual practices and
but you're uniquely blessed to have prayed to so many religions and so many gods.
Yeah.
So according to you, how many gods are there? Who is God? What is your understanding of God? Because you're blessed with this experience.
But I believe in SIP, exactly what you said. Yeah. There is a divine force that has created all of this life.
I love you saying that you believe in SIP. I love it. So you believe.
I'm listening to you.
But you believe that it's all SIP, right?
There's got to be a divine force.
Yeah. Whether you call it Jesus or you call it the Father, the Son, or the Holy Spirit, whether you call it Allah or whether you call it...
Yesterday my son said, I am God.
He or you?
My son said to me, Mama, I'm God.
And you know what in the Vedas?
And I said, yes, you are.
And in Vedas, you know what
God resides in everyone.
Correct. In Vedas, you know what it says?
What?
Aham Brahmasmi.
Yes, of course.
He
chants it.
He chants?
Yes.
How old is your son?
2.
And how did he say that I am...
I don't know. They say these things, don't they?
So beautiful for me to conclude with this point. So don't you agree that all religions are good?
Yes.
And no religion is better than the other religion?
Absolutely not.
And all religions are actually talking of that same one God?
Yes.
And we like fools are fighting each other in the name of religion?
But that's because that's how people have through centuries divided to be able to control and rule.
You know why?
Because they want money. It's as simple as that. So because somebody wants a lot of money,
oh my God,
everybody else is being made to feel quite miserable about themselves.
Do you know, Dia, you have the guts to say it. I tell people, the richest people in this world today are churches and temples and mosques and gurudwaras and synagogues.
Yeah.
If only these religious...
Also, the richest people in the world are also people who are driving economies.
Correct.
And those are not the religious bodies, so to speak. These are individuals. I said this recently in an interview. I said the climate crisis has been caused by a bunch of egotistical men who refuse to change.
And the selfish needs.
Yes. It's their greed. It is their insatiable greed for more power and money that is driving inequity, inequality, death, devastation, and destruction. In the face of all of this, there are some people who, politicize religion, make people fight with each other.
For selfish needs.
For selfish needs again.
And I'm asking you the last question.
And we're so busy fighting over religion that we're not focusing on health and well-being.
So do you know all this, right? This problem of all these religions confusing all of us, and problem of all these greedy rich men doing this. Do you know the one solution to all these problems?
What? Apart from speaking the truth.
The one solution to all these problems in the world is enlightenment.
Yeah. You find your happiness in your enlightenment and your light.
And the truth.
And the truth.
What you said. This is said very good in a Qawwali. And I want to end with this and then give you your chance, give me your comment. I love this. I'm sure you must have heard it. It says, मौत ने जमाने को ये समा दिखा डाला, कैसे कैसे रुस्तम को खाक में मिला डाला, याद रख सिकंदर के हौसले तो आली थे, जब गया था दुनिया से दोनों हाथ खाली थे, जो तन के चलते थे अपने शानो शौकत पर, शम्मा तक नहीं जलती आज उनकी तुरबत पर। शहंशाह भिखारी हो सबको लौट जाना है, इंसान जो भी जिंदा है कब्र ही ठिकाना है, जैसी करनी वैसी भरनी, आज किया कल पाएगा, सर को उठाकर चलने वाला एक दिन ठोकर खाएगा। You must have heard this. चढ़ता सूरज धीरे धीरे ढलता है। So tell me your closing thoughts.
I just think that, life offers you opportunities to meet some people at the right time. This was one of those conversations and interactions. So everybody watching this is going to find it because they were meant to. And I found you because I was meant to.
And I was meant to see this Diya, this light who I believe. I'll maybe gone much before you, but chronologically I'll be gone much before you, but you will shine. And
as will you. As will you.
You know that we both are same, you know that.
Yes.
How are we same, you know that.
अरे अभी तो डिस्कस किया है हमारा कॉन्वर्सेशन देख लो
In one more way.
Yes.
You know,
how?
You are Diya. You are light. And my mother called me Ravi.
Right.
Ravi is the sun.
Oh, yes, of course. We are both light. Just as everybody is, right, I guess.
And I'm asking you of one thing.
Ji.
That this conversation, if it has truly touched your soul and your insight, I want this Diya to shine, and I want this light of truth, this light of enlightenment to reach the world. Can you tell me that you're going to do it, or if you can't commit this to me?
I'm already on this path.
Okay, very
and
nice.
It will continue because this is the only way I know how to live. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for watching.